My name is Emily Anderson and I'm 28 years old. 3 months ago I thought I had everything figured out. I was engaged to Nathan, the love of my life, planning our dream wedding for December. We'd been together for 4 years and he proposed on the anniversary of our first date with my grandmother's ring that I'd given him specifically for that moment. I remember that night so clearly. We were at our favorite restaurant, the little soul food place where we had our first official date. Nathan was nervous, fidgeting with his napkin, and I pretended not to notice the small velvet box creating a bulge in his jacket pocket. When he finally got down on one knee, tears streaming down his face, he said, "Emily, you're my everything. I can't imagine breathing without you." The entire restaurant erupted in applause. Even the tough-looking brothers at the corner table were wiping their eyes. That's the kind of love Nathan and I had, the kind that made strangers believe in forever. But here's what I didn't know then. My own family was already plotting to destroy everything I held dear. My sister Rachel had been watching from the shadows and apparently she wanted what I had. Not just wanted it, she was willing to lie, manipulate, and betray everything sacred to get it. If someone had told me then that in 3 months I'd be standing outside a church, watching my sister marry my fiancé at what was supposed to be my funeral, I would have laughed in their face. Family doesn't do that to family, right? Wrong. Dead wrong. The manipulation started so subtly I almost missed it. It was 2 weeks after Nathan proposed and we were at my mama's house for Sunday dinner. The whole family was there, Mama, Daddy, my older brother Jerome, and of course Rachel. "So when's the big day?" Mama asked, passing around her famous cornbread. "We're thinking December 20th, I said, squeezing Nathan's hand. "Right before Christmas, so it'll be magical with all the lights and decorations." I noticed Rachel's fork pause halfway to her mouth. She set it down slowly and when she looked up, there was something in her eyes I'd never seen before. Something cold. "December 20th? That's interesting," she said, her voice honey-sweet but with an edge. "That's the same date David proposed to me 2 years ago." David was Rachel's ex-fiancé who'd broken up with her 6 months before their wedding. It had devastated her and the whole family had rallied around her, helping her heal. But bringing him up now on this day felt deliberately cruel. Nathan shifted uncomfortably. "We can pick another date if..." "No," I said firmly, looking directly at Rachel. "We're not changing our date because of some painful memory. That's not fair to us." Rachel smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Of course not, sister. I just think it's interesting how these things work out." Later that night, Nathan brought it up. "Baby, maybe we should consider a different date. I don't want to cause problems with your family." That should have been my first warning. Nathan was always a peacekeeper, always trying to make everyone happy. It was one of the things I loved about him, but it was also what would make him so easy to manipulate. The phone calls started the next week. Rachel would call Nathan directly, which I thought was weird since we'd never been that close. When I asked him about it, he'd brush it off. "She's just checking on the wedding plans, making sure I'm taking good care of you," he'd say with that innocent smile that made my heart melt. But I started noticing things. Nathan would get quiet after those calls. He'd study my face like he was looking for something. And he started asking strange questions. "Baby, you've been working a lot lately. Are you feeling okay? You seem different." "Different how?" I'd ask, but he'd just shake his head and change the subject. The truth was, I had been working more. I'd just gotten promoted to senior marketing director at my company, and I was trying to prove myself. Long hours, weekend work, the whole grind. I was tired, sure, but I was also happier than I'd ever been. My career was taking off, I was about to marry the man of my dreams. Life was good. But according to Rachel's phone calls, apparently I was struggling. "Nathan mentioned you've been really stressed," she said during one of her surprise visits to our apartment. "Working until midnight, barely eating. That's not like you, Emily." "I'm fine," I insisted. "Just busy with the promotion." She tilted her head, studying me with those calculating eyes. "You know, when David was cheating on me, I was in denial too. Threw myself into work to avoid dealing with reality." "What are you trying to say?" "Nothing," she said innocently. "Just that sometimes we don't see what's right in front of us until it's too late." I should have thrown her out right then. Should have seen what she was doing. Planting seeds of doubt, making Nathan question my stability, making me question my own reality. But she was my sister. I trusted her. God, I was so stupid. October 15th. I'll never forget that date because it's when my life split into before and after. I was driving home from a client meeting downtown when it happened. A truck ran a red light and slammed into the driver's side of my car. I remember the sound. Metal crushing metal, glass exploding, the world spinning. Then nothing. I woke up 3 days later in the hospital with a concussion, 2 broken ribs and a shattered collarbone. The doctor said I was lucky to be alive. The first face I saw when I opened my eyes was Nathan's, streaked with tears. "Thank God," he whispered, kissing my forehead gently. "I thought I'd lost you. But something was off." He seemed distant. Careful. Like he was handling fragile glass. "Where's my family?" I asked weakly. "They're coming," he said, but he wouldn't meet my eyes. Rachel arrived an hour later, rushing in with perfect tears streaming down her perfect face. "Oh my God, Emily. We were so scared." She hugged me and I should have felt comforted. Instead, something cold settled in my stomach. Her tears seemed rehearsed, her concern felt performed. "The doctors say you need complete rest," she said. "No stress, no work, no wedding planning. Your brain needs time to heal." "The wedding's not for 2 months," I protested. "I'll be fine by then." Nathan and Rachel exchanged a look that excluded me completely. "We'll see," Nathan said quietly. That's when I knew something was terribly wrong. But I was weak, hurt, and medicated. I couldn't fight what I didn't fully understand yet. I had no idea they'd already started planning my funeral. The recovery was hell, but not for the reasons you'd think. My injuries were healing fine, but my support system was crumbling in ways I couldn't understand. Nathan started visiting less frequently. When he did come, he seemed nervous, jumpy. He'd check his phone constantly and make excuses to leave early. "I don't want to tire you out," he'd say. Rachel thinks what?" I'd interrupt, but he'd just kiss my forehead and change the subject. My friends from work sent flowers and cards, but when I tried to call them, they seemed distant. Awkward. Like they knew something I didn't. "Take all the time you need," my boss said when I called about returning to work. "We're handling everything fine without you." That stung. I'd worked so hard for that promotion and now it felt like I was easily replaceable. The only person who seemed genuinely concerned was Jerome, but even he was acting strange. "You sure you're okay, little sister?" he asked during one of his visits. "You seem, I don't know, different." "Different how?" "Everyone keeps saying that." He shrugged, but there was worry in his eyes. "Rachel mentioned you've been having mood swings. Getting angry over little things." "I haven't been angry about anything." "See? Like that. You just snapped at me." I stared at him, feeling like I was losing my mind. Was I going crazy? Was the head injury affecting my personality? Or was something else happening? That night, I heard Nathan on the phone outside my room. His voice was low, but I caught fragments. "Getting worse. Don't know what to do. Maybe Rachel is right." When he came back in, I pretended to be asleep. But my heart was pounding. What was getting worse? Right about what? I was about to find out that my family had convinced everyone I was dying. It was Mama who finally slipped up. She came to visit while I was napping and I woke up to her crying over my bed. "Pi, poor baby," she whispered. "I can't believe this is happening to you." "Mama? What's wrong?" She startled, wiping her eyes quickly. "Nothing, baby. Just, how are you feeling today?" "I'm feeling better. The headaches are almost gone and the ribs barely hurt anymore." Mama's face crumpled. "Don't lie to me, Emily. The doctors told us everything." "Told you what?" She broke down completely then. "About the brain swelling. About how we might not have much time left." My blood turned to ice. "Mama, what are you talking about?" "I'm getting better. The doctor said I'm healing perfectly." She stared at me like I'd grown a second head. "But Rachel said," she talked to Dr. Henderson herself. "She said you have brain damage, that you're having episodes where you don't remember things, where you get violent." "What?" I tried to sit up too fast and pain shot through my ribs. "Mama, I haven't talked to Dr. Henderson in weeks. And I've never been violent in my life." But I could see it in her eyes. She didn't believe me. She thought the brain injury was making me delusional. "Rachel has been handling everything," Mama said gently. "She's been your advocate with the doctors, talking to Nathan about what's best for you." That's when it hit me like another truck collision. Rachel had been intercepting my medical information. She'd been talking to my doctors, my fiancé, my family, telling them lies about my condition. But why? What could she possibly gain from? Oh God, Nathan. Where is Nathan right now? I asked, my voice deadly calm. He needed some space to process everything. Rachel is helping him through this difficult time. I bet she was. That night, I did something I should have done weeks ago. I called Dr. Henderson directly. Miss Anderson? How are you feeling? Doctor, I need to know something. What exactly did you tell my family about my condition? There was a pause. I haven't spoken to your family, Miss Anderson. Patient confidentiality laws prevent me from discussing your case with anyone unless you're present or have given written authorization. My heart stopped. But my sister Rachel said she spoke with you. She told my family I have brain damage, that I'm dying. Miss Anderson, that's absolutely false. Your injuries, while serious, are healing beautifully. You have no brain damage, no memory issues, no personality changes. You're expected to make a full recovery. I started shaking. Could you put that in writing? And could you call my family directly to correct this misinformation? Of course. This is very concerning. Has someone been impersonating me? Something like that. After I hung up, I sat in the dark, pieces clicking together like a horrific puzzle. Rachel had been pretending to be my medical advocate while telling everyone I was dying. She'd been consoling Nathan, helping him process losing me. But why stop there? If I was supposedly dying anyway. I grabbed my phone and called Nathan. It went straight to voicemail. I called again. Voicemail. On the third try, Rachel answered. Emily? Honey, why are you calling Nathan so late? You know he's trying to get some rest. Where is he, Rachel? He's here. At my place. I'm taking care of him during this difficult time. Put him on the phone. Now. Sweetie, maybe tomorrow when you're feeling more stable. I hung up and called an Uber. If they thought I was dying, it was time to prove them wrong. I arrived at Rachel's apartment at 11 p.m., still wearing my hospital pajamas and a jacket I'd grabbed on the way out. My ribs screamed with every step, but rage was a powerful painkiller. I used the spare key I knew she kept under the fake plant. The living room was dark, but I could see light coming from her bedroom. And I could hear voices. I know this is hard, Rachel was saying, her voice soft and comforting. But you have to start thinking about your future. About what Emily would want for you. I can't. Nathan's voice was broken. I can't imagine life without her. Baby, she's already gone. The doctor said it's just a matter of time now. She's not the same person you fell in love with. Baby. She called him baby. I pushed the bedroom door open. They were sitting on her bed, fully clothed but far too close. Her hand was on his thigh. His head was in his hands. What the hell is going on here? They both jumped like they'd been electrocuted. Nathan's eyes went wide when he saw me standing there, very much alive and very much furious. Emily. He scrambled to his feet. What are you doing here? You should be in the hospital. I should be in the hospital? Or I should be in the ground. Rachel stood slowly and I saw something I'd never seen before, fear in her eyes. But she recovered quickly. Honey, you're having another episode. Let me call the ambulance. Shut up. My voice was deadly quiet. Just shut up with your lies. I looked at Nathan, this man I'd planned to spend my life with, and felt my heart break all over again. Tell me something, Nathan. When exactly did I become violent and unstable? Emily, please. When did I start having memory problems? When did the doctors tell you I was dying? I could see the confusion dawning in his eyes. As I just got off the phone with Dr. Henderson. Funny thing, he's never spoken to my family. Ever. The silence in that room was deafening. Nathan looked from me to Rachel, pieces finally clicking together in his mind. What is she talking about? He asked Rachel, his voice barely above a whisper. Rachel's mask was slipping. She's confused, Nathan. The brain injury. There is no brain injury. I screamed, all my rage finally erupting. There never was. She's been lying to you, to everyone. Nathan stumbled backward like I'd physically hit him. That's impossible. She showed me medical reports. Fake ones, I said. Ask her. Ask her right now to show you an official medical document with Dr. Henderson's signature. The color drained from Rachel's face. I don't have to prove anything to you when you're clearly having a psychotic break. Call him, Nathan said suddenly, his voice strange and flat. Call Dr. Henderson right now. It's almost midnight. Call him. The command in Nathan's voice shocked all of us. This gentle, peacemaking man I'd fallen in love with had steel in his voice I'd never heard before. You can't be serious, Rachel said, but her voice was shaking now. I'm dead serious. Because if what Emily is saying is true. His voice broke. If what she's saying is true, then you let me believe the woman I love was dying. You let me mourn her while she was alive and recovering. He turned to look at me then, and I saw the exact moment his heart broke. You let me pull away from her when she needed me most. Nathan, please. You told me she was getting violent with you. That she threw things at the nurses. That she didn't remember our engagement half the time. Tears were streaming down his face now. You said she'd asked you to make sure I didn't see her like that. Each word was a knife in my chest. I never said any of that. I know, he whispered. I can see it in your eyes. You're exactly the same person you've always been. That's when Rachel played her final card. Fine. Rachel screamed, her perfect composure finally cracking completely. You want the truth? I'll give you the truth. She was shaking, mascara running down her cheeks, looking nothing like the composed manipulator she'd been for months. I did it because I love him. I've loved Nathan since the day you brought him home, and you just took him for granted. Nathan and I both stared at her in shock. You were always too busy with work, with your career, with everything except him. I was the one who listened when he was worried about the long hours you were working. I was the one who comforted him when you missed dinner dates because of some stupid meeting. That's not, Nathan started, but she cut him off. You were planning to postpone the wedding anyway. Don't deny it. I heard you on the phone with your boss talking about the promotion requiring travel. For 3 months. I shouted back. I was going to travel for 3 months after we got married. That's not postponing anything. But I could see doubt creeping into Nathan's eyes, and Rachel saw it too. See? Even now she's putting her career first. Nathan, when's the last time she cooked for you? When's the last time she made you feel like a priority? Stop it, Nathan said quietly. I would never do that to you. I would put you first always. I would. I said stop it. The room fell silent. Nathan was shaking, hands clenched into fists at his sides. You want to know when Emily last made me feel like a priority? His voice was deadly calm. Every single day. Every morning when she brought me coffee in bed before her early meetings. Every night when she'd text me from work just to say she loved me. Every weekend when she'd turn off her phone completely so it could just be us. Rachel's face went white. And you want to know the difference between you and her? She never once tried to make me choose between her and anything else. She supported my dreams even when they conflicted with hers. She loved me enough to trust me. He turned to face Rachel fully. You loved me so much you were willing to let me think she was dying. There's more, isn't there? I said quietly, watching Rachel's face. This wasn't just about making Nathan think I was sick. You had a bigger plan. Rachel wiped her nose with the back of her hand, smearing makeup across her face. For the first time in her life she looked ugly. What are you talking about? But Nathan was ahead of me. The wedding date, he said slowly. You kept asking about the wedding date. December 20th, I said. The same date David broke up with you. Something shifted in Rachel's expression. A coldness that made my blood freeze. You weren't just trying to steal my fiancé, I said, pieces clicking together. You were planning to marry him on my wedding date. So what if I was, she snapped. It would have been beautiful. A celebration of life instead of a funeral. Funeral. Nathan's voice was barely audible. My legs gave out. I had to grab the doorframe to keep from falling. You were planning my funeral. You were in the hospital. You could have died. It would have been so easy to just help that along. The room spun. Nathan made a choking sound. Jesus Christ, Rachel, I whispered. You were going to kill me. I wasn't going to kill anyone, she screamed. But if something happened, if your injuries were worse than the doctors thought, at least Nathan wouldn't be alone. You tampered with my medication, I said, the final piece falling into place. Those pills that made me so tired, so confused. That wasn't for pain. Her silence was confirmation enough. You were slowly poisoning me while telling everyone I was dying from my injuries. Nathan lunged at her then, and I had to grab his arm to stop him. Don't, I said firmly. She's not worth it. But the look in his eyes. I'd never seen Nathan capable of violence, but in that moment, I think he could have killed her with his bare hands. Get out, he said to Rachel, his voice shaking with rage. Get out before I do something we'll all regret. Nathan, please. Get out. She ran. 2 weeks later, I was standing outside Sacred Heart Church in my grandmother's wedding dress, watching guests arrive for what was supposed to be my funeral and had apparently become my sister's wedding to my fiancé. Yes, you read that right. After that night at Rachel's apartment, Nathan and I had talked for hours. We'd cried together, raged together, and ultimately made a decision together. We were going to let this play out exactly as Rachel had planned it, with one small modification. The investigation had revealed everything. Rachel had been forging medical documents, intercepting my calls and emails, and yes, slowly poisoning me with sedatives that made me appear confused and unstable. She'd convinced our entire family that I was dying and had maybe weeks to live. She'd also convinced them that it would be what Emily would want for Nathan to find happiness with her after I was gone. The wedding invitations had gone out 3 days after Rachel thought I was safely committed to a psychiatric facility. The fake commitment papers were remarkably well crafted, I had to admit. But here's the thing about faking someone's death and planning to marry their fiancé: you have to keep track of a lot of lies. And Rachel had missed one crucial detail. I was supposed to be dead, but I'd never actually died. So when the music started and the doors opened, I walked down that aisle in my grandmother's dress, carrying my grandmother's Bible, with my very much alive smile lighting up the sanctuary. The screaming started immediately. Mama fainted. Daddy jumped up so fast he knocked over an entire pew. Jerome's wife grabbed their kids and ran for the exit like she'd seen a ghost. Which I suppose she had. But the best reaction was Rachel's. She was standing at the altar in a white dress that looked suspiciously like the one I'd chosen for my own wedding, and when she saw me, she literally fell to her knees. No, she whispered. No, 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 you're supposed to be dead. The pastor, bless his heart, just stood there with his mouth hanging open. Nathan? Nathan walked down from the altar, took my hand and said loud enough for everyone to hear. Sorry folks, wrong bride. The aftermath was swift and brutal. The police had been waiting outside the church, and Rachel was arrested before she could even take off the wedding dress. Attempted murder, fraud, forgery, identity theft. The charges kept piling up. The family drama was intense. Half of them were angry at Rachel for the deception, half were angry at me for letting it go so far before revealing the truth. Mama couldn't look at either of her daughters for weeks. But you know what? I didn't care anymore about family loyalty or keeping the peace. Some betrayals are too deep to forgive, and some people aren't worth saving. Nathan and I postponed our actual wedding for 6 months while we both went to therapy. We had to rebuild trust, not in each other but in our ability to recognize when people were manipulating us. We had to learn to protect what we'd built together. The real wedding, when it finally happened, was small. Just us, Jerome and his family, a few close friends, and surprisingly Mom and Daddy. They'd had time to process what Rachel had done, what she'd almost taken from all of us. As I write this, I'm sitting in our kitchen watching Nathan make pancakes while humming off-key. It's been a year since that horrible day in the church, and sometimes I still can't believe how close I came to losing everything. Rachel is serving 8 years. She'll be eligible for parole in 5, but honestly, I hope she uses that time to figure out who she is when she's not trying to steal someone else's life. The most important thing I learned from all of this is that sometimes the people who are supposed to love you the most are capable of the deepest betrayals. But that doesn't mean you stop trusting. It means you trust more carefully, more wisely. And when someone shows you their true face, believe them the first time. Nathan just set a plate of pancakes in front of me, perfectly golden and shaped like hearts. He kissed the top of my head and whispered, "Good morning, Mrs. Johnson." Yeah, I took his name. After everything we've been through, I wanted to start fresh. Some stories don't have happy endings, but this one does. Because love, real love, survives anything. Even your own family trying to bury you alive. Final verdict time. Hero or villain? Did Emily do what we all wish we could do, or did she go nuclear when she should have tried diplomacy? I need to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if stories about people finally putting themselves first give you life, subscribe and ring that notification bell, because this is just the beginning.